Hello, everybody. This is Leah. For my Prayercast today, I wanted to talk about a quote from James Cone's The Cross and the Lynching Tree and what led me to read this book in the first place. Sometimes it is very difficult to be a queer Christian, and there was a long period of time, and I'm kind of still in it, where I wasn't really sure that Christianity was going to be my spiritual home. So much of our history, our Christian history, and our present, and the words and deeds of people who call themselves Christian make it very difficult to feel like there's a place for you in Christianity, to feel like there's a place for you in the church, capital C. One of the things that has kept me in it thus far is finding a community like Grace. Grace was very helpful in illustrating what a welcoming church could look like, and what a church that is dedicated to continuing to learn and continuing to, ever reform on these things could look like. But in that same vein of thought, I saw a series of tweets, ages ago, where the person tweeting was a Black woman, and she was calling out the ex-vangelical movement, the white ex-evangelicals just up and leaving Christianity without ever considering other voices within Christianity, particularly Black voices. And that it really portrayed a sense of hubris, a sense of pride, that if my version of Christianity that I was raised with is wrong, then everything must be, and so I'm just going to go. And for some people, I understand wanting to leave the faith, but I agreed with that, and it really opened my eyes to the fact that white Christianity, white evangelical Southern American Christianity, is not Christianity as a whole. It is a very specific subset, and that there is so much wisdom to be found in all of the rest of Christianity, and particularly in the Black church, which is why I got The Cross and the Lynching Tree. James Cone is a Black liberation theologian. He passed away fairly recently, but his writings have had a profound impact on the Black church and liberation theology as a whole. And for me, I felt like if someone like James Cone, if any Black person can find redemption and solace in Christianity, then there must be something in it worth redeeming. So I read this book, and it really does a good job of doing what it sets out to do, which is to draw this analogy between the cross and the lynching tree in America. But he talks about what the cross is, and that it is a sweeping sign of solidarity with all oppressed people throughout all of space and time, that it is a broken, suffering God coming alongside everybody who's ever been oppressed for whatever reason, just to say, I am here with you. I am in this with you right now. And he has a quote that I'm going to read towards the end of the book that I really liked. The Christian gospel is God's message of liberation in an unredeemed and tortured world. As such, it is a transcendent reality that lifts our spirits to a world far removed from the suffering of this one. It is also an imminent reality, a powerful, liberating presence among the poor right now in their midst. And so the transcendent and the immanent, heaven and earth, must be held together in critical dialectical tension, each one correcting the limits of the other. That really stood out to me because it is a very beautiful way of describing what I've heard my whole life as the already and not yet. The idea that already the world has been sanctified, but still we are in the work of its sanctification. So the idea of this transcendence, this beautiful picture of peace and hope, lighting the way for us in the now, the current struggle in making this community, this human community, into the kingdom of God. And knowing that Black Christians have found, particularly Black American Christians, there have been Black Christians for thousands of years, but Black American Christians who suffered so greatly under this religion, who have made their own place in it and really transformed it into something more beautiful than it ever was to begin with. I would really encourage us all to read Black theologians, learn from what they have been able to bring from their own lens, their own lived experience to the scripture. So if you are queer like me, if you are a woman who's been, oppressed by the patriarchy in the world and in the church, if you are a Black, Indigenous person of color, whatever your intersection is with oppression, there is a place for you in the church, capital C. There is a place for you in Christianity. There is a place for you in God's kingdom. And there is a place for you in God's family. And that sometimes it takes looking through the eyes of other people to be able to see it.